Lesson 2 of Chapter 3 is about multiplying decimals. First, we'll be doing integers by decimals, and then decimals together, and then a real-world application after that. The main idea for our lesson today will be to count our decimals. See, we have 2 decimals in the first number that we're multiplying, 2 in the second. So what we do is we add them up, and then your answer would have the sum of that decimal places. So this would be 4 decimals here, and then a 0 would go here in our answer. Let's practice that a little bit. We have 6 times 0.1. So if we were going to rewrite that, it would be 6 times 0.1. So we would multiply this. We'd get 6 times 1 is 6. And then we can't do anything with this 0, so we're just left with the 6. So for this whole number here, this integer, it doesn't have anything to the right, meaning there's no decimal spots to the right, so that would be 0. Here I count 1. So then I'm going to be moving my decimal over 1 to the left. So we're at 6.0 right now, but we'd be moving that over. So it'd be 0 with a decimal now, 0.6. The decimal is now on the left side of the 6. Let's do it with another one here. We have negative 2 times 0.04. So 4 times 2 is 8. It'd be a negative 2, but we'll get to that in a bit. And then we count the decimals. So nothing over here, so 0. 1, 2 numbers to the right of the decimal. So guess how many times we get to move it over? Twice. 1, 2. So here's our decimal. In this empty space, we got to put a 0. And on the left side of the decimal, we put a 0 too. So our answer would be 0.08, or negative 0.08. So you see that? There's nothing, there's 2, so we have 2 total spots to the right, so we moved it 2 to the left in our answer. We have 1.25 times 23 then. So let's write that out. 1.25 times 23. And let's solve this. All right, so 3 times 5 is 15. Carry that 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And 3 times 1 is 3, so we have 375. Cross that out, put the 0 underneath as we've learned before. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry that 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 2 times 1 is 2. Add these together. Let's move this quick. So that will give us 5. 7 plus 0 is 7. 3 plus 5 is 8, and then 2 plus 0 is 2. So 2,875, but let's count our decimals. Nothing here because the decimal's on the right, and then 2 over here, so let's move that decimal over. 1, 2. So that would leave us with 28.75 for our answer. And it's positive because we have 2 numbers that were positive being multiplied. It's 28.75. Now let's multiply these numbers, decimals by decimals. So same rule, we'll just be having decimals with both numbers now. So 1.2 times 1.6. Let's multiply. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry that 1. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So we have 72. So cross off the 6, put the 0. Then 1 times 12 is 12. So if we're going to add this then, we'd have 2 plus 0 is 2. 7 plus 2 is 9. And then 1, let's fix that. Then 1 plus 0 is 1. Now let's count our decimals. I see 1 here. I see another 1 here, so that's a total of 2. So let's move our decimal over twice. That'd give us a decimal spot right here. So 1.92 would be our answer. Now let's look at this problem. We have negative 2.78 times 0.8. When you're multiplying like this, you don't have to line up your decimals. There's something stopping you. But with adding and subtracting, we had to line them up. So I did not line them up here, but as long as I count at the end, my answer will be correct. Times 8 would be 64. So carry that 6. 8 times 7 would be 56, plus 6 is 62. Carry that 6 again. 8 times 2 would be 16, plus 6 would be 22. So I have 2,224. that's not what this would equal, right? Because we have to count the decimals. So I have 1 here, 2, 3. And I count 3 here too. So I'd start here, then I'd move over 3 spots because I counted 3 decimal places. So I'd give you an answer of 2.224. And then my answer would be negative because it's a negative times a positive. So negative 2.224. Let's do a word problem. On average, Americans eat 0.25 pounds of peanut butter per month. How many pounds of peanut butter are eaten by the approximately 302 million Americans living in the United States? So this is about 1/4 of a pound. So this should be about 1/4 of this. So we multiply these together, and that would give us our answer. So I'll put 302 on the bottom times 0.25. So first we'll do the 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 5 times 0 is 0. Plus 1 is 1. And 3 times 5 is 15. We'll cross off that 5. Put the 0 down here. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 0 is 0. Forget about that 1 because that was the first time. And then 3 times 2 is 6. Let's add these together. 0, 5, 5, and then 7. So we have 7,550. Is that how many million pounds we'd be eating with this many Americans? No, of course not, because we forgot to move the decimals. So let's move those decimals over twice. So it'd be 75.5 now. I'm just going to leave that 0 off at the end. That's an unneeded 0. And that would be in million. So always ask yourself, does that make sense? Would 302 million Americans eat 75.5 million pounds if they each ate 1/4 of a pound? And that does sound pretty good. This is about 1/4 of what this would be.